reality is each of us have issues. Each of us have struggles. And our struggles are different. And it's so easy sometimes to sit back and look at folks and condemn them and mock them for the issue and the struggle that they're going through, without regard that we're struggling ourselves simply in another particular way. And so, we find this in the church, we find this in our society. We're always finding somebody to look down upon. And I think the subconscious reason that we do this is because it takes the heat off of us. It sort of justifies our illness, or it sort of relieves us from the pressure of struggle when we can put our focus on the struggle of the issues of someone else, okay? But that's not going to do us any good, okay? Because what I want to talk about today is this inference that strength is made perfect in weakness, okay? And so sort of talk about weakness. See, we all have our weaknesses. And I believe that as we walk this walk of life, whether we consider ourselves religious or not, that we have struggles, okay? And what I want to suggest in this program today, that our struggles are not negative things. They're not bad things. Our struggle is just the way that we look at a particular thing that we're going through. I mean, you could look at a guy that's exercising, that's doing push-ups, and you could say, oh man, and if you think about it, say he's on push-up number 50. It's a struggle, okay? But you know what? If he perseveres, if he is consistent in his struggle, and if he doesn't give up and acquiesce to, oh well, I can't do this exercise, he will find strength. So the struggle at that moment of exercise, he is weak. That's the struggle. It's the weakness. But if he perseveres, that weakness will be transformed to strength, okay? And so what I want to suggest in the struggles that we have in life, especially the emotional ones, but as well the physical ones, the issues that we have, in this life, that they're all necessary. They're necessary catalysts to our growth. A struggle is like a battle, like a challenge, a mental challenge. And once it's overcome, you're strong, just like from doing those push-ups. And see, we come into the world, we're thrust into the light, we're thrust into noise, we're thrust into all this stuff that challenges us, a sort of antithesis to our reality, our thesis. And throughout life, this is how we grow. And what we're going to find is, as we grow older, it's going to seem like the challenges become greater. But I don't think really that you're going to find any challenge greater than that infant, that infant that is transformed from fetus to infant, thrust into the light, thrust into all these senses. But for that fetus, it's traumatic. But even for that fetus, there's a weakness, there's a vulnerability when he comes into the world, or she comes into the world. That's that weakness. But that weakness is challenged by the antithesis. It's challenged by the reality of what it's facing. And through that challenge, that baby begins to develop. That baby begins to get strong. And what I'm suggesting is this is the same process that we go through now in our lives. The antithesis, the challenge, the struggles, the battles are just different, okay? And they seem more difficult. But really they're not. You can take it, okay? It's like you're doing a cardio, or you're doing some reps with the, I'm not too familiar with doing the reps, with the weights and everything. There comes a point, if you continue with the same amount of reps or the same cardio exercise, the exercises have less effect on your body. Why? Because your body is used to them. You need to be challenged. You need to do more reps, put more weight, spend more time doing the cardio, work harder in order to get stronger. Now, these are the intentional things that we put upon ourselves because we want to be strong, and we recognize that our strength only comes about through our weakness, through recognizing, through realizing our weakness, because you're not going to recognize your weakness if you're not challenged. So we have to come to a place in our lives where we stop trying to avoid the challenge. We have to stop lamenting the challenge. We have to stop complaining about being challenged, because it's through the challenges that we become strong, okay? And so we're going to have battles. We're going to have struggles. A lot of our battles, a lot of our struggles are moral issues, okay? See, it's easy to do the physical thing. I mean, when I say easy, it's easy to know what to do the physical thing. I know for myself, I've joined, health spas on a couple of occasions and only attended for a couple of weeks, and still ended up having to pay a year's bill, okay? So those type challenges, are one thing. Those are easy to conceive. They're easy to see within our grasp of conception and understanding. This is what I have to do to get there. For me, I do a cardio every day, okay? Because I understand what I want to accomplish in my age. I want to keep my heart and my blood flowing and all that good stuff. So there's something that I need to do. Now trust me, it's not easy sometimes. It's easier when you get into a habit, but it's not easy pressing through to do the thing that's going to exhaust you when you could simply be watching television or doing something different. But you realize that it takes the struggle to become strong. It takes recognizing and realizing your weakness, the sweat, the heartbeat, the tiredness, and the sore muscles and all that. It takes that weakness to begin to realize the strength. The strength only comes through weakness, through the struggle, okay? That's why I was suggesting that there are struggles of the mind. Or you can call it of the heart, but of the mind. That we're constantly going through. We're constantly being faced with choices. Choices to do right. Choices or to do wrong. So there is that struggle. And so I'm just suggesting then that we begin to look at the challenges that we face, the temptations, as struggles, as challenges, as battles of the mind, of the heart. And see, it's not a problem to have these battles. It's not a problem to have these thoughts. The key is to win, okay? And we're not going to win all the time. But each of these battles are winnable, but they will be a struggle. And I'm simply suggesting that you persevere. That you don't give up, that you don't even avoid. See, drug use. I know there's this big push for drugs, the marijuana, because it feels so good, and I can't argue with that. But you know what marijuana, consistent marijuana use, just consistent drug use, it's an addiction. It's not an addiction where you're going through the shakes, you're going through all that. It's an addiction where you really want it very bad because it feels so good. But what does it do? It gives you the feeling of acquiescing. Oh man, it's cool. It's chill. That's what addiction does. And so you don't persevere. You don't even accept the challenge or face the challenge. You're just cool sitting right there in your chair, just chilling. Falling asleep the next day. Nothing has been resolved. So there is no doubt. There is no argument. The feeling of weed. But the question is, how is it motivating you to deal with the challenges and the struggles of your life? Are you embracing them? Or are you acquiescing? Or are you simply avoiding them altogether, even the thought of them? Okay, there is no growth in that. And I was speaking to a guy recently on the internet, and he was ragging on a particular politician, and I was sort of on the other side. I wasn't really on the other side, but I was saying, this politician is trying their best to do well. It's kind of amazing, nowadays for politicians, but this politician is, and his response was, well, how was your life better, 2 years later, now? And my response to him was, your life being well hasn't to do with another individual. It has to do with you. So we do that. We rather than simply face the struggle, deal with the struggle, often we acquiesce for whatever reason, and then we justify our acquiescence by blaming it on someone else. It's the white guys. It's the black guys. It's the brown guys. It's men. It's women. Whatever. No, it's you. I remember when I was a young airman in the Air Force, and I think I was about 18 years old, 19 years old, and I was on my way overseas to Japan. And I wasn't going to the Japan with the cherry, well, we had cherry blossoms, but it wasn't the Japan that we see in the pictures. You know, the ladies running around the kimonos and all that beautiful weather and all that. You know, I went up into the northern mountains of Japan, where it was cold and thick winters and all that stuff. But when I was on my way up, there was a place called Misawa in northern Japan. Everybody that had been there had been telling me, man, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be a terrible time. It's no good here. It's right. You know, all these negativities, man. And when I got there, man, I had the best time of my life. It was great. Why? Because my wellness was not dictated by my exterior circumstances. That was the struggle, for them at least. But I had a way of dealing with situations, of facing situations. I knew the struggle, and I knew how to overcome. A man can tell me, don't do push-ups. For real, for me. You know, I'll be 64 this year. And so in addition to my cardio, I do push-ups and I do sit-ups, okay? So I do 50 push-ups and 40 sit-ups, that's all. So as I was doing the push-ups, I was really getting into it, but after about 2 months, man, my wrists started hurting. So I am going to be 64 this year. So what was I going to do? I was really hyped, and I knew I needed to do these push-ups, but my wrists were hurting. And so I could have just quit. I could have said, oh, well, I'm just not going to be doing, you know, any push-ups. But instead, I got 2 wristbands. And I just tighten them around my wrists. So every morning, before I do those push-ups, I just tighten those wristbands. Now, the push-ups only take about a minute. They don't take long. And so I'm fine. So then later, I saw him continue to do these push-ups, doing these push-ups, and all of a sudden, my abdomen starts hurting a little bit. I'm like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? See, these are examples of the struggle. These are examples of the challenge. So what do? Acquiesce? Oh well, I guess I can't do push-ups. No, that is not an option, because there is no growth. Your weakness will not be strong through acquiescing to the challenge. So I found this way to put my right ankle over my left ankle when I'm doing my push-ups, and the pain goes away. And that worked. So then I'm doing that for about another month or two. Also my other side, my abdomen starts hurting. I'm like, oh man. I could have quit? No. So I tried putting my other ankle over the other foot instead. Guess what? Worked. And now I don't have any abdomen problems, but now I just have a new way of just doing push-ups. That's just the way I do push-ups, because that's as comfortable. I've been doing it for so long. So I'm just suggesting that we're going to be faced with situations. We're going to be faced with challenges, struggles. We got to just figure them out. That's what I tell my kids. My daughter, especially when she's going through something all of her life. You know, whether it's in school, in math, or in one of the sciences, or whatever it is she's dealing with, you know, figure it out. I could give you the answer. I could give you the result that you're looking for, but no, you're not going to grow if I work out for you, okay? As simple as that. So once again, recognize that we're going to have battles, we're going to have challenges, we're going to have temptations to do wrong. Don't lose yourself in that, because the temptation is the struggle. That's the challenge. It's a challenge of the mind. It's the challenge of intent, the challenge of integrity. What are you going to do with that? And you might be struggling terribly. But just get the victory. Be well. Because I'm an avid, I study the Bible. I've studied the Bible for so many years. But as well, not too long ago, I began reading the Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu Bible. And there was this gentleman named Arjuna, who was like the title character. And Arjuna is a young man. He's a good young man. He's supposed to be the king, the ruler of his kingdom, but his cousin has taken over because of circumstances, was supposed to hold the kingdom for him until he became of age. But then when he became of age, his cousin and his uncle and them, and half the people decided that they liked the position that they were in, and they weren't going to give him his rightful position. So he had to go to war with his own people. And he dealt with this conflict inside because these were his people. He loved his people. He did not want to go against them. He didn't want to kill them. But he was good. And he was principled, that he was on the side of right, and it was necessary for him to be ruler of that land. And so he went to battle. And the story goes that he had a charioteer. And the charioteer was actually God, was actually Krishna in flesh form, guiding him, into battles and advising him. And this charioteer wanted Arjuna to prevail, to be victorious. But the charioteer could not get involved in the conflict. But he gave advice to Arjuna. He encouraged Arjuna. Any question Arjuna had, he answered. And so what I want to share with you today, that is really our situation in life, is that we have the answers with us. If we seek the answers. At the risk of sounding corny, the answers of the universe are found within you. We just need that quiet, meditative time to seriously consider. Now, like the charioteer with Arjuna, the charioteer will not get involved. The charioteer is just the source of insight, the source of understanding. Arjuna still had to make his own choices. So we, like Arjuna, have that charioteer, have that insight, that advice, the knowing to do right and the knowing to what to do if we take the time to meditatively be quiet and listen. But ultimately, the choices are up to us. It's up to us what we do. It's up to us the actions that we take. And so there are going to be struggles. Always. There are going to be temptations to do what you know you shouldn't do. There are going to be temptations to take the easy road, or to just give up altogether. Don't do that. Because that is growth. Each of your challenges in life are simply stages to the next place, stages for your growth. You can't let it go. You can't acquiesce. You can't put the blame on someone else. And I emphatically advising you, don't do drugs or alcohol when you're young, until you've accomplished all that needed to be accomplished. Because that's simply the catalyst to acquiescing to whatever the ills, whatever you're facing. Either for example, the drugs, like the weed, will get you to acquiesce and to not persevere. So there is no challenge, there is no growth. And you can go years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, content with the weed, actually acquiescing to giving up and not facing the challenges in your life. There is no growth. And the alcohol has the opposite effect. When there are temptations, when there are challenges, you're attempting to do the things that you know you shouldn't do, the alcohol will allow you and convince you to go ahead and do that thing. So you're not going to win there either. But I'm telling you today, and I'm suggesting that the struggles are real. The struggles are real. You have to persevere. There is no wrong in the struggle. There is no wrong in the battle. There's no wrong in the challenge. There's no wrong in the temptation. The key is to persevere. The key is that when the dust settles and the smoke clears, for you to have been victorious. And all victory means is simply moving to that next stage in your life. There'll be more challenges. There'll always be challenges. But the challenges are not negative. The challenges are catalysts to your growth. We see the politicians, especially in America nowadays, acquiescing to negativity, participating in negativity, doing things that they know they shouldn't do, simply in a response to maintaining and holding on to their political position or their position of leadership or power or even financial gain. What I'm suggesting is that these situations that these politicians are facing is simply their challenge. It's their struggle. It's the catalyst to their growth, but they're acquiescing because it's easier to submit rather than persevere. And they don't realize it now, but they're doing themselves a disservice. First of all, for all the world to see, and their families to see, and their children to see the lack of integrity. But as well, they're not growing. They're stagnating. They're stagnant. They're not growing. They've acquiesced to the challenge without affecting the challenge. No, the politician needs to stand up and say, no, I'm not going to give in. I know it would be convenient. I know it might be a shot to my leadership. I know it might be challenging to my money, but on principle, I will not give. This is the politician's antithesis to his thesis. This is the next stage of that individual's growth. But he's hunkering down. Getting all, solid, standing in there, no, I'm going to stand here and weather the storm. You're not weathering a storm by acquiescing. You are losing. You're acquiescing to your weakness, not accepting the challenge to grow. We need to learn to be thankful for the struggles. We need to recognize that it's only through the struggle that our weakness will become strength. We're going to have many struggles, many battles like Arjuna. We're going to lose some of those battles. But the key is to win the war, okay? So be thankful for the struggles. Embrace the struggle. Figure out how to persevere. You can. Man, I look at it, see, in life, okay? We're on a path. We're on a path. Our footsteps are being ordered. There is a biblical verse about the footsteps of a righteous man are being ordered of God. Our footsteps are ordered. All human beings. Ordered on a particular path to walk a particular way. I'm not saying for particular destinations, but a particular way. There are many destinations, many choices. But there's good and there's bad, there's integrity, there's no integrity. There is a way, a path to get to where you need to be. And your feet are guided to that path. Now you've heard the old saying, what goes around comes around, right? Or from a biblical perspective, you reap what you sow. These are not punishments. It's not that there's a divine up there looking and you did wrong and you're throwing that lightning bolt at you. No, everything that happens is simply an attempt to get the footsteps guided in the right direction. So if you reap what you sow, if something that you're doing is going to be, the reaping is simply saying, no, don't go that way. It's the warning, it's the guide, pushing you, moving you, molding you to walk the right direction. See, prisons are full of people who simply would not heed the direction, okay? Because it's almost like gravity, just a force that it's not negative or positive, it's not mean or harsh. If you jump off a building 16 stories up, you're not being punished by gravity. No, it's just a reality that we have to deal with. And so we find a way to work with the gravity, to go with the flow, to accomplish things we need to accomplish without going against that which is a reality in our lives, gravity. And so what I'm suggesting is that even the concept of sowing and reaping, or what goes around comes around, is simply a power, a force getting us to move in the right direction. And we have chances. We have choices. We have opportunities. Most people are not jammed up, on their first failure and go to prison. Most folks get comfortable in particular lifestyles, and eventually that lifestyle catches up. So we have ample opportunities to do what we need to do to become what we need to become. And I look at it sometimes like exercise, like cardio, since we opened with that. Young people are in pretty good shape, pretty good health, if they're not overindulging, in food and stuff. Why? Because their bodies are new. So a lot of the bad habits, a lot of the bad eating habits, or not getting enough rest, or not wearing the right clothes, or whatever it is, it's not really affecting them or visibly affecting them, from the observer's vantage point. So even a young person has ample opportunity to get it and to change their lifestyle. And to recognize, and I'm suggesting today for us as well, we don't hardly get jammed up immediately. If you have not been encapsulated in sickness, if you have not been overcome in sickness because of your lifestyle, you have an opportunity to start right now. Me, I've been pretty good health for an old guy, for a 64-year-old guy. Why? Because I've been working out, I've been exercising, I've been cardio, I've been eating right for the past 15 or so years. I spent 26 years in the hoods, walking a mail route 20 miles a day. I've walked the circumference of the earth 4 times, for real, because of the nature of my job. And because of that, nature of the job, I decided to eat right as I was doing that. So I looked at a situation. Man, you know, when I became a mailman, it was not easy. I had been in corporate America. I was with NCR Corporation for 13 years. Three-piece suit, trench coat, hat with the feather in it, briefcase. I was that guy, okay? After 11 years, AT&T took over and promised they wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't touch us for 2 years. 2 years to the day. We were informed that we were losing our jobs, or they were like restructuring, and we could bid on, fight against each other for the few jobs that were left within the company, you know. I just chose to take a buyout. I left. 5 months later, I was a mailman from a test that I had taken a year prior and totally forgot about. I just got a letter in the mail. Post office said, "Come on in." I came in for an interview. I was hired as a mailman, a letter carrier. I was 34 years old. Man, that first week, I didn't think I was going to make it. It was impossible. I couldn't walk all that and do what was required of me. But then I come home and I look at my 4-year-old son, and I didn't want to see his belly swollen and flies around his eyes. You know, he had to eat. So I had no choice. So I had to find a way to make that work, and I made it work. And that was 28 years ago. And so now I'm in bed. Now think about this. So when I was in corporate America, man, I was not in the best of shape. I was not in the best condition. I mean, I was sitting in a cubicle, or not even in a cubicle, in an office, and the snack room was right across the way from my office. So every day I was constantly eating stuff out of that machine. So you know what that means. I just wasn't in good shape. I was probably about 20 pounds heavier than I am right now. Not in the greatest of shape. So the challenge was when AT&T took over, recognizing I was functioning in a position that required a degree, although I didn't have one. So now I'm fighting with folks that are more educated than me for jobs that I knew they were going to get. So rather than go through the humiliation of that fight, I just took a buyout and some extra money, signed a document saying that I'd never sue them, okay? And so that was a challenge. That was a tremendous challenge. Just leaving that company without any other opportunity, anything before me. And then, fortunately, when I was called, you know, by the post office and went in there, great, I got a job, making more money, it's wonderful and everything. But then, at that point, I couldn't do that either. That was a challenge. 100 degrees outside. How am I going to do this? I had to figure it out. And now look, 28 years later, I'm in the best shape that I've been in a long time, simply because I overcame that challenge. And how did I overcome that challenge? Well, I decided since I had to walk every day, I was going to eat healthy every day. I found a way. I figured it out. I turned my mail route into my exercise routine. And instead of just walking it like everyone else, I double timed it. Okay, hell. And so what I did was, and the management of the post office was always on the mailmen and mailwomen about speeding up their time, about not taking so long, you know, trying to, productivity, you know how it goes in businesses, right? But since I was double timing, I was always making my time. I was never in trouble for that all of those years. Why? Because not only had I found a way to make the job, a challenging job, more fun, it's exercise now, plus I'm eating right while I'm at work. I was able to take the heat off of me from management, because now that I was double timing it, I was not being late. I was not a problem employee. There were challenges met. And so I progressed. And after 15 years as a mailman, you know, I had an opportunity to go to college. I was going to get an associate degree. 10 years later, I earned my MBA. So by the time I was with the company for 25 years, I earned an MBA. And by that time, I'm in excellent condition for my age. You know, I feel like I'm the age of I'm the physical condition of a 40-year-old with an MBA. And there are things that now that are coming off the horizon that are simply because I have the MBA, something I'm going to be able to do shortly. Things just fall into place as you accept the challenges. I didn't mean to bore you with my situation, but just to give you encouragement, as dismal as situations may seem. Man, I remember when AT&T took over, informed us of our situations, people were walking through the hallways at NCR. This one particular woman, she was like a zombie, just crying and walking through the hallways. People were all messed up, all forlorn, dejected. Because they didn't know how to deal with that situation. I kind of didn't either. I just left and trusted. Accept the challenge. That's where there'll be growth. It's always positive. It's not going to be negative. We worry about what's going to happen to us, this, that. Nothing's going to happen to you. Just make the best choices that you can, and you'll end up exactly where you're supposed to be. Do not acquiesce to the challenge. Do not give up. Do not avoid the challenge. That is the problem of drug use. That's the problem of alcohol use. The way you approach the challenge is skewed. You're not going to win all the battles. You're going to struggle mentally, emotionally at times, but win. Figure it out, and you'll win the war. How's that?